This video is sponsored by Dr. Phone.
I was about to say, I just paid my YouTube premium. Jacksonville deadliest game. Bro, oh my God, Jay.
Where is Corbin Johnson? The 18-year-old's parents say they dropped him off last week at a job interview and they never saw him again.
Corbin's parents say they have no idea where their son is after his friends called looking for him too.
My boy shot my house up. I was right on the bed, me and my little brother Quan.
I'm from the north side of Jacksonville.
And the north side has a reputation for being one of the more violent sides, right?
Yeah, that's the most violent side of Jacksonville. Mall Creek off of the long strip. We go to
Gunfire erupts in a local neighborhood, leaving one person dead. He was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Northwest Jacksonville apartment complex.
Her family was woken up about 1:30 in the morning Saturday when a brick came crashing through a sliding glass door in the back of their house.
Friday, the city had 3 shootings within hours. One was in Durkeeville, another was off Gate Parkway, and another near 20th Street in Talleyrand.
Those gunshots killed a man and his...
Oh. So y'all don't just spend one time? Don't spend one time? Damn, we didn't get him this time. We gonna load back up for the next one. Y'all niggas spending 3 times a night? Gang, y'all not playing fair. Like this, like if it had a rule book, you guys would be abusing like some of the rules, gang. Me and my water. They said that this shit like everywhere else. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
mid-20s who was standing outside the front door of this employment agency.
3 people were...
Wait, I fell asleep last night. Nigga fell asleep watching me. I fell asleep with you, nigga.
Shot, and the search is on now for 2 suspects.
Shell casings and markers cover the 2100 block of Brooklyn Road. JSO says a suspect fired about 50 shots around 2:30 Sunday afternoon.
The men were driving when another car pulled up next to them and began shooting at them. 22-month-old Aiden McClendon was shot and killed.
4 men were shot.
Shot in the head.
Shot in a mass shooting.
He was shot and killed.
Shot to death. Shot.
Gunshots.
I heard 6 gunshots.
Wait. What?
At the start of 2021, a song called Who I Smoke came out and went mega viral. Now, from the outset, this looked like any innocent hip-hop video, with a bunch of nice-looking, well-dressed young men out on the golf course for an enjoyable day teeing off on the green. These young men seem to be known as ATK, okay. Well, it turns out that ain't the name of their local golf club. In fact, you might have struggle shit, but don't if you didn't pay attention at the start.
Don't mind me, alright?
Because when the first guy tees off his golf ball, the bullet shell casing drops to the ground. And once this subtle reference to shootings has passed, we then begin to hear a very familiar musical sample, Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles. Well, what a charming song to hit a few balls off the green to, eh? And for the first 30 seconds of the video, all we see is our well-dressed protagonists jamming out to some Vanessa Carlton and having a great day on the course. But at a certain point, the beat drops and these boys go from Tiger Woods to tie him up and put him in a woods. Because what followed was one of the most diabolical and disrespectful diss songs in hip-hop history. This song, Who I Smoke goes on to reference around half a dozen murdered gang members, many of whom were only teenagers when they were killed. No real guns appear in this music video, only hidden and coded references to violence, like the shell casing dropping to the ground at the start, or the toting of fake water pistols instead of real guns. So the charming settings of the visuals of this music, combined with the demonic gang shit that the rappers are actually speaking about, unsurprisingly made this piece of media go mega viral. And before you know it, it seemed like everybody on social media was singing "Ooh, I smoke." However, very few people took a step back to understand exactly what or who these gang-affiliated golf course gophers were actually talking about. Since then, countless of hilarious reaction videos have been made to "Who I Smoke," along with a handful of breakdowns which try to get to the heart of exactly why these two groups in Jacksonville have been—
Nah, putting a clip of a nigga laughing that hard is crazy. You damn near put that nigga in some shit. See, chat? See? These niggas, hell no.
beefing for so many years. Now, I've spent the last few weeks taking a closer look at this story, and I would say that until now, nobody has truly captured the magnitude of the wild shit that has gone down between these two groups. And after everything I've learned, I am honestly convinced that this right here is the bleakest, darkest and most disrespectful feud in rap, hell even gang history. Because in many ways, the Jacksonville hoods that the boys involved in this story come from are truly some of the most dangerous and deadly in the entire world. Seriously, some of what you're about to hear today is going to make Chirac look like Disneyland. So buckle up, pour a drink, roll a woods, and prepare yourself for one of the most craziest and heartbreaking stories that hip-hop has ever seen. But allow me to warn you people, this one is not for the faint of heart. Today's story takes place in Jacksonville in the northeast of Florida. Now, many decades ago, Jacksonville became a consolidated city-county with Duval County. This created one metropolitan area called the City of Jacksonville and Duval County, an enormous area which actually is the most populated city in all of Florida. Now, that's not strictly important for this story, but sometimes you might hear people referencing things that went down in Jacksonville or Duval County. Just know that they're basically one and the same. Now, if you've been a fan of Florida rappers like YNW Melly, then you'll know that guns are readily available in the state of Florida. In fact, the majority of people in the state seem to be armed to the teeth. And much like the city itself, the gangs that roam the streets of Jacksonville have a long history too. Over the past few decades, many gangs and gangsters have called Jacksonville, Florida their home. From Rolling 20s Bloods to Crips, GDs and Hispanic gangs like MS-13 fleeing other states and setting up shop in Jacksonville. However, the gangsters that we're interested in for the sake of this story are those talented ones who rap. And when it comes to Jacksonville, one of the biggest names to ever come out of the city is of course Youngin Ace. Real name Keanta Bullard, Ace was born in Chicago but moved to Florida as a child. He actually started rapping at the young age of 14, finding himself rolling with a crew of rapping G's called the Youngin Gang, a crew apparently founded by Flip the Youngin and Trigger Roma.
They were older than me, I was younger.
Oh, okay.
But their name was to spell it like Y-U-N-G.
So Ace, along with his Youngin Gang boys, made songs like the early track Go to War, which came along with a music video where they were showing off some heavy artillery. Hell, at one point a dude even pulls out a World War I looking rifle with a goddamn bayonet at the end.
They got ancient straps. They got collectible straps.
Guess these guys are in the trenches for real, for real. Now that music video introduced us to a few other familiar faces that were around Ace in the early days of his career. That includes Ace's blood brother Quan Quan, or 2 Times, and his close homie 23, or RJ. Now this was Ace's first big breakout song, racking up a whopping 100k views in the first week, going on to rack up a Big Boy M. This was the song that made Ace a bona fide rapper. And despite a minor setback with Ace getting sent to jail on a juvenile charge, with his first taste for success in the music industry, Ace would continue to flood the market with music and raise his profile. So with a lot of success in the rap game and a solid reputation in the streets, Ace's circle of influence in Jacksonville would continue to grow, and over time, fans would begin to recognize the faces of people in his crew. Other people include Kobe, aka 4, Fast Money Goon, Rollo, Red Dot, D De Niro, Ray Spaz, Trey Shorty, Crazy K, Sosa, or Scotty. Now, at a certain point later on in the story, Ace lost a few of his day one homies and would move away from the Youngin Gang, which was originally made up of Ace's day one homies more from the Orange Park and west side of Jacksonville. However, over time and as the story develops, Ace and his remaining
on iOS or Windows. Launch the program, then
Get to the shit. Get to the shit, bro.
ATK's sworn enemies are KTA, which stands for Kill Them All. Not very friendly, that, is it? Just like ATK has its origins in the Youngin gang, it's been said that KTA has its roots in a more organised crew of OG Jacksonville gangsters called PCE, or Problem
They got
Child
stand your
Entertainment.
ground
Now, this
rule.
is a
Someone
legit
tries to
gang
fight
that
you,
was
you
really
can
dismantled
literally
in the
blow them down.
2017 RICO case. This saw over 10 senior members from the PCE operation facing racketeering charges for multiple counts of murder and firearms offences. Now, this group had actually attracted a significant amount of attention from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office following a tragic January 2016 incident when a 22-month-old baby, Aiden McClendon, was sadly killed after being sat in the baby seat of a car that was targeted in a drive-by shooting. The police were able to connect those bullets that killed that baby to the PCE crime organisation, and both of the shooters in this case were convicted of murder.
2 guilty verdicts were read, one for Henry Hayes and one for Kwame Richardson, who were tried separately. Prosecutors say both were targeting a rival gang member when 22-month-old Aiden McClendon was shot and killed while he was sitting in a car with his mother on the city's east side.
But to make things even more crazy, it's being suggested that that 22-month-old baby that was killed was actually a direct relative of Whopper with a Chopper and Spinner Benz. But anyway, regardless of that, with this kind of going down in the streets affecting 22-month-old children, it's no surprise that the Jacksonville cops ended up cracking down hard on PCE. But growing up in the midst of the budding gang wars on the streets of Jacksonville is a young rapper by the name of Foolio, aka Julio Foolio, aka Lil Six. Now, this nickname is derived from the 6 or 6 block in Jacksonville, where Foolio hails from. A territory apparently stretching from 45th and Moncrief up to Avenue B, with Foolio specifically hailing from the Hilltop Village apartments.
He just explained.
Now, this area is the north
See,
side
okay,
of
go to the
Jacksonville,
hits.
the area which Foolio...
You go to the hits.
When he was asked why rappers in Jacksonville beef, Foolio said that there were 3 reasons.
That it be a respect thing, and then it be a nigga neighborhood where you from, and then it be dead homeboys. Like you disrespecting my dead homeboys, and now I want to diss your dead. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you are going to
Send
see
it-
a heck of a
send
lot
it
of
to
all
one of
3
my
those
mods.
things going on throughout this beef. Weirdly, apparently Foolio was even cool with some of the ATK members back in the day, with Foolio having said numerous times that some of the ATK members, like Whopper with a Chopper, having appeared in one of his early music videos.
Whopper and all them type niggas, they used to be in my videos type shit.
Meanwhile, Spinner Benz has said himself that he's been involved in street beefs since the early years of 2012. Now look, it's pretty difficult to trace things back right to the beginning when these beefs kicked off between whoever was involved back in the early days. And it's clear that a lot of the bad blood in the Jacksonville gang community has been passed down from older generations of gangsters that have been beefing over all sorts of things for years and years.
He said, watching a white man make gay stimulations of black men for financial gain is ridiculous. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? We're looking at this horrible scene, bro. This shit is horrible, bro. You wouldn't go to war with them boys. I bet you wouldn't go to war with them boys. I bet $100,000, bro. You wouldn't last 2 days in the war with them boys, nigga. Them niggas really out here putting belt to ass. BTA, nigga. All that. All that.
But at the very least, there are a handful of inciting incidents that can help explain some of the earliest catalysts in the beef between ATK and KTA. The killing of 22-month-old Aiden McClendon on January 2016 was an early milestone in the PCE gang war. It's been alleged that the drive-by that ended up killing that child was a direct retaliation for a shooting that happened earlier that day. But when we look closer at that particular case, it was actually revealed that things had kicked off a year before this, with these 2 crews facing off at a Kodak Black concert in Jacksonville. Apparently, Kodak was on the road playing a show in Jacksonville when members from both sides found themselves in attendance. First Coast News published an article about the Aiden McClendon case, which suggested that it was actually a turned-down handshake at this Kodak Black show, which led to a fist fight, which led to tit-for-tat shootings, ultimately culminating in the Aiden McClendon case. This beef was apparently between members of PCE and 187 Out West, the crews that would later evolve into KTA and ATK respectively. So in November 2015, these 2 crews have a beef up.
Crazy as you believe. Bro, you didn't see that case? I believe everything this nigga say. You goddamn right, I believe what them niggas said. I believe everything this nigga say. I believe everything. I got to, bro. Dog, they homie just told it all. It's already out there, bro. I ain't the first nigga to say it. Don't try to make me beef with them boys. Hey, don't try to make me beef with them.
Over the past decade.
Wait, which one is this? Yeah, this just talk. It's like his shit is boring.
Florida has consistently produced some of the best rappers of this generation. The reason that so many authentic street artists have come out of the Sunshine State is that beyond the sandy beaches and palm trees,
this a black man.
World of poverty and violence that inspires their hard-hitting bars. Two promising rappers from Jacksonville, Florida, Youngin Ace and Julio Fulio, have been involved in a deadly beef that caused a wave of terror in the city. Here's a look at Jacksonville's most wanted gangs, ATK versus KTA. Jacksonville police have identified as many as 30 dangerous street gangs in the city, but the two most deadly are ATK.
Walnut Creek is not my hood. When y'all figure that out, y'all understand. I'm not even, bro, I was born in Walnut Creek. I'm not from Walnut Creek. Literally was taken out, went to the hospital, went back home in Antioch. Like I was just born there. I never lived in Walnut Creek, bro.
Associated with rapper Youngin Ace and KTA, a crew affiliated with another rapper named Julio Fulio. KTA stands for Kill Them All.
Shit,
There's some disagreement.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Antioch, we need to draft some of these
niggas. Attack, aim to kill, or ace to kill in reference to its most famous member. Jacksonville is known for being a wild city with one of the highest murder rates in the U.S. There were 111 murders in Jacksonville in 2020.
Damn.
Growing up, both rappers had to adapt to an environment of crime and violence. Youngin Ace was born in Chicago, but moved to Jacksonville with his family when he was 3 years old. Growing up, Ace had a pretty traumatic childhood that was full of death and betrayal. His father was locked up on a 15-year sentence when the rapper was young, and being one of 11 kids, his mother struggled to make ends meet. He bounced between different relatives' houses, never settling in one place for as long as the family was constantly getting evicted. His uncle was the head of the family and the only positive male role model in the artist's life growing up.
I just know them niggas don't know me.
He passed away when Ace was only 13. He started using music as a way to express himself while also getting stuck into the street life around him. Julio Fulio, also known as just Fulio, had a similar upbringing, surviving the mean streets of Jacksonville. Growing up in Duval County, he experienced the deaths of close friends and family members with killings, hustling, and police activity all around him. The rapper dropped out of high school just in 9th grade, but before dropping out, he was shot in the leg while exiting a school bus. With school no longer an option, he decided to take music seriously, using street activity to support himself. Youngin Ace first blew up back in 2017 with the track Go to War, which featured the rest of the
Y'all will see me at nothing that nigga will potentially be at.
ATK gang. Not long after, Fulio started buzzing in the city with tracks like Crooks and Slide. Even though they were two poppin' rappers in the same city, their beef didn't stem from the music. It all started after the killing of Julio's blood cousin.
Chat, something happened. Knock on wood. Something happened, and these niggas do it, bro. These niggas will not want to be in it so bad. They'll be like, them niggas ain't do that. Boy, they go, bro. My niggas is gonna tell you, I passed from a vape. they gonna say it's from a vape or something, bro. They not gonna say it was what really happened, chat.
Zion Brown.
Because they don't want to be a part.
Got killed back in 2017 in what seemed to be a targeted shooting. Police later arrested a 19-year-old named DeAndre Thomas, who was charged with throwing a brick through the window of Zion's home before firing off several shots.
Damn!
Zion, along with two girls who also lived there, one who was 16 and the other who was only 9, were shot by Thomas. The two girls survived, but Zion was tragically killed. Thomas had ties to Youngin Ace. The two had both been charged with a 2018 burglary where they allegedly robbed somebody who was selling weed. During the burglary, shots were fired, nearly hitting a couple and a 1-year-old child, but luckily, no one was injured. Ace spent a few months in jail for the robbery, while Brown still had a warrant out for his arrest when he was brought in for the Zion Brown murder. It's not clear what the motive behind the shooting was, or if Ace had anything to do with the hit, although the killing was clearly targeted. But whether he was involved or not, Fulio was out for blood, and not long after, Ace, along with 4 other people, were the victims of a retaliation shooting. On June 5th, 2018, Ace, along with 2 friends and his blood brother, were shot after celebrating the birthday at Wasabi, a sushi restaurant in Jacksonville. After they left the restaurant, another vehicle pulled up alongside them and started letting off bullets. In an interview with DJ Vlad, Ace says he tried to shield his brother from the bullets, but it wasn't enough. He was the only survivor of the shooting. His brother and his 2 friends were pronounced dead on the scene. Ace was shot a total of 8 times and brought to a local hospital to be treated for his injuries. To make matters worse, a local gun store owner saw his picture on the news and remembered him and his boys coming into his store earlier that day. He called the Crime Stoppers hotline to report seeing him in the store, and Ace was arrested in the hospital for violating his probation. He had been sentenced to 31 months of probation for the robbery he committed with DeAndre Thomas and was not legally allowed to possess a weapon as a convicted felon. Even though Ace never actually purchased a gun from the store, video surveillance footage showed him holding a gun, which was enough to be considered a probation violation. So 3 days after the shooting, Ace turned himself in to Jacksonville police. Trayvon Buller, Ace's brother, had just turned 18 that day and was the rapper's closest sibling in age. It was a devastating loss to the artist, who wasn't even allowed to attend his funeral because a judge denied him a bond. After that, it was all-out war between the ATK and KTA camps. Fulio took to social media to taunt Ace and his dead homies. After clearing up his legal problems, Ace jumped right back online and told Fulio and his crew that they would pay for clearing the ATA camps. Fulio took to social...
I'm getting my new shirt made today. I pissed on this one and burned it already. Nah, these niggas ain't playing fair, bro.
social media to taunt Ace and his dead homies. After clearing up his legal...
Got a shirt made that says...
problems, Ace jumped right back online and told Fulio and his crew that they would pay for killing his partners and dissing them after they were already dead. So the beef was no longer just in the streets. It was now being documented on the internet for everyone to see. In an interview with Say Cheese TV, Fulio claimed to being the most hated rapper in Florida and doubled down on his decision to diss youngin' Ace and his dead friends and brother. He said that there are consequences to street life, and if Ace didn't already know that, then he'd have to learn. The beef stayed on the internet for a little while, but not for long. In January 2019, a rapper who went by the name Boss Goon was killed in a mass shooting that also injured 5 other people after a performance at a strip club called the Paradise Gentlemen's Club in Jacksonville. Boss Goon happened to be the older brother of another Jacksonville rapper named K-So, and many of the other people injured were members of his family. K-So is affiliated with Youngin Ace and is rumored
That's the reason why K-So spin.
to be one of the top shooters in ATK. Boss Goon had only recently been released from prison after serving a 10-year sentence in the pen. One of the other people shot in the ambush was K-So's father, Abdul Robinson. K-So and his dad shocked the city of Jacksonville and the hip-hop community after they were both arrested for the killing of a KTA affiliate named Lil Buck in Arlington. K-So was charged with a second-degree murder, and Abdul was charged with accessory to murder after the fact. A police officer witnessed the shooting.
Chat, this is the trial. Are we watching? That's what I'm saying.
And chased after K-So and another man he was with. K-So had already made the news back in 2019 after releasing album art for a track called Bibby Out that features the photos of several dead members of the KTA gang, including Zion Brown and a 16-year-old murder victim who went by the name Bibby Osama. It seems like the killing of K-So's brother Boss Goon was payback for blatantly disrespecting dead ops in the rapper's music and album artwork. Disrespecting dead ops in music and on social media has become common with this new wave of trap and drill rappers, and it's a recurrent theme in this particular beef. But it always escalates the cycle of violence to a point that no one can escape until everyone is dead or in jail. Many petty disagreements can eventually be squashed if both rappers are willing to put the past behind them, even if blood has been spilled. But once you take it to a level where you're creating a permanent record of disrespect in the form of a song or album artwork, it's tough to walk away from that. It's an easy way to get to your ops if you aren't able to confront them in person at the moment, but it's a dangerous practice that any rapper who's serious about escaping the streets
If you can't confront them at the moment, what?
Because it always leads to more bodies and more jail time for those involved. There have been all kinds of disrespectful tracks released by both camps that have fueled this deadly beef. After K-So's album cover made headlines, the rapper released the incredibly disrespectful track, K-So, where he doubled down on the disrespect of Bibby Osama by taking credit for the hit. Not long after, Fulio released a track called Bibby Story as a tribute to Bibby, where he details how he felt when Bibby was murdered and why the disrespect is so serious. Not long after the arrest, both Fulio and his girlfriend were shot in 2 separate incidents, but both survived. It seems like the shooters tried to get at Fulio, and when they couldn't take him out, they went after his girl. The streets of Jacksonville are so deadly that no one is safe. When the ops can't find who they're looking for, they'll go after the closest person to you, which includes friends, family members, and even innocent bystanders. The crazy thing is that the war seemed to help fuel both rappers' popularity, with many of their tracks racking up millions of views. But with so much blood already spilled, it seems impossible for either camp to leave the streets alone long enough to capitalize on the success. After surviving one near-fatal ambush, Ace became the victim of another shooting where one of his homies was injured and another was killed. He and his crew were ambushed outside a Hampton Inn in Waycross, Georgia. In March 2019, police were called to the hotel with reports that gunshots had gone off. They found 30-year-old Jeremy Brookins dead by the pool and 29-year-old Dwayne Scott inside a hotel room with a gunshot wound. Ace was also with the group, but was not injured, surviving a second near-fatal ambush within the span of a year. Not long after, 2 members of the KTA squad, Spaz and Rod K, were killed in retaliation, adding 2 more names to the endless cycle of violence. Not long after that, the police saw what was going on and decided to keep Queso locked up while he awaited his murder trial for the killing of Lil Buck. Fulio claimed this as a victory and started mocking Queso on social media, claiming that the rapper used to rock with him and his homies before jumping ship.
So that's what happened. He got picked up for it, and he was possibly gonna beat it, but the nigga told.
Ace. What came next were some of the most disrespectful hip-hop tracks ever recorded in hip-hop history. On March 28, 2021, Young and Ace, along with ATK members Spin the Benz, Wappa with the Chopper, and Fast Money Goon, released a track called Who I Smoke. The song is a remix of the song 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton and came along with a video of the 4 Jacksonville goons messing around on a golf course. The track is hard-hitting and catchy until you get to the hook, where Ace starts the chant of Who I Smoke, followed up by the names of real KTA affiliates who have been killed, including Bibby, a Florida rapper killed in 2019 named Techie, and Lil 9, another rapper shot and killed in 2020. The song is definitely creative, but tough to sit through once you realize they're disrespecting real people who are now dead, some as young as 16 when they were killed. At least with most modern drill songs that contain lyrics dissing ops, the beat is cold-blooded and menacing, so you know some real shit is about to be said. Who I Smoke takes you by surprise by sounding like a pop record until you actually listen to the lyrics. The song was so wild, it's even gotten innocent Twitch streamers caught up in the beat. Not long after the track was released, internet personality Aiden Ross was tricked by some other dudes in a Discord chat into singing the lyrics. He later had to issue a public apology to Fulio during a live stream, who was clearly pissed off, but not about the smoke a gamer, just for getting pranked by some dudes who want to see him get into some bullshit. In response, Fulio released the track When I See You remix, which samples the R&B track When I See You by Fantasia. Despite also having a catchy melody and upbeat instrumental, Fulio takes the disrespect to a new level by rapping about the shooting that almost left Ace dead while filming a music video on the grave of his dead friends and brother. He even went as far as having a poster with their faces on it from the Fox News coverage printed, which he raps alongside throughout the video. With these tracks, both rappers seem to be trolling while also dissing each other's dead friends and family, which is tough to do with a straight face. If there was any hope that the rappers could put the beat behind them and focus on music rather than the streets, these 2 songs destroyed it. Who I Smoke now has over 17 million views, and the When I See You remix has over 7 million. What's even crazier is that both rappers were able to get the rights to the original tracks they sampled. The war is far from over, and the 2 viral songs will likely lead to even more bloodshed. It's a shame that 2 talented rappers have gotten caught up in such a wild beef that has no end in sight. Given how creative they are with dissing each other, there's no telling what they could accomplish in the music industry if they put their minds to something positive rather than deadly street beef. But with so much blood already spilled and diss tracks already released, it's unlikely either side will let up anytime soon. Everyone thought the war in Jacksonville was gonna pop off after.
What? Bro, that's too much, Chad. I ain't gonna lie. That's way too much. That's too much. That's too much stuff going on. What the Chad? Now I ain't gonna lie. Them boys different. Them boys different. Damn, they got my map address where I'm finna go. Them boys different. I ain't gonna lie, Chad. That's a different. Like you could beef with a person. That's real beef. You mean it's over? Nah, I mean shit. They still, you see, they still sliding on shit. Shit ain't over with.